Hey everyone, it's Cal from Dirty Weasel, and welcome to the Cheyenne system, the home system for the Freestar Collective. This is an Outpost summary video, and where we left off in episode 23, you saw me land in Codos, but I want to kind of give you a kind of background. There was a lot of gameplay that didn't get translated over into the Let's Play because, quite frankly, it was really boring, and I spent a lot of time bouncing around different systems, taking a look at things, and trying to find a good home base. And with the role play that we're having, that Captain Gray is not real happy with the UC, he decided to kind of pop over to Cheyenne system to take a look around because this is the home system. And we looked at a bunch of different planetary systems in the way here, but when we got here, I looked at it and said, holy cow, look at all the planets and all the moons that are here. And I spent time kind of popping around, and I noticed that Aquila had, oxygen but high gravity with flora and fauna. That's good. That's, a lot of animals and plants. And then I looked at some other places. I looked at Montera, deep freeze. There's Montera Luna, which also had O2, low gravity, some flora and fauna. But when I started to look at the resources here, I needed two things: aluminum and iron together for our first bases. And Montera Luna didn't have it, even though it had the oxygen and the low grav. Aquila, aluminum but no iron. And that's when I settled on Codos. Codos has standard O2, low gravity, decent flora and fauna, and it has aluminum and iron together. And that's why I chose this place. When we go in and take a look at Codos, you can see it has water, aluminum, chlorine, iron, argon, beryllium, HNCN, which is alkanes, and RCOC, which is very rare. I don't remember the name of it. But when you look at the resources on the planet, you can see we've got some sporadic iron and sporadic aluminum, and they're never close to each other because the aluminum is in swamps and the iron is in the mountains. So I could never get anywhere close that we needed to get to. So I decided on a strategy of two bases. The first one I set up was what we're going to be calling Codos main base, and it's going to have aluminum and beryllium. But that's kind of what we decided. So it's going to have everything we kind of need: temperate temperature, oxygen, flora and fauna, and aluminum, beryllium, and then iron at the secondary base. But this is our first one, and we're going to go take a look at that right now. So it's just now dawn here at the main base. This is the aluminum beryllium base here on Codos, and I found both aluminum beryllium here. I can see I have extractors set up for both and some solid storage for each beryllium and aluminum over there. You can see some of the local fauna, the different animals are here. That is a kind of a peaceful herbivore-ish thing. But this is where I kind of decided it's a pretty enough location. It had some structures in the background that kind of add some extra ambiance. But I wanted to get set up here. And first thing I did was plop down my outpost beacon and then kind of set up some houses. We'll take another look at things. And we have a landing platform that is for also a shipbuilder, which is super handy. And then we got our extractors put up with our storage, and then our transfer link going to the other base, which I'll talk about later. When I set up the landing pad with the shipbuilder on, I also wanted to line up the habs, and that took a little bit of time. I'm still not a great outpost builder because I'm not super experienced at it. This is a blind playthrough, and I haven't gone through all the videos and other resources out there to tell you a lot about it. So I kind of had to play with it. It took a really long time to get everything kind of the way I wanted it. But I can jump from the landing pad over to the hab easily enough. And then that's kind of where I'll be basing off of that to build more habs as we go. And there's nothing in there we're seeing except for a couple crafting bases. We've got enough power. I have a transfer container right there. So it's close enough to the ship so I can transfer back and forth. And then we just kind of went about and built our landing pad, our transfer cargo link, and get everything hooked up. So let's go to the scanner. We'll do an overhead view. As I said, there's our landing pad, our 2 halves with not much in them as far as furniture goes, because quite frankly, I ran out of resources. We have 1 beryllium extractor and 2 aluminum extractors here. When we get into cargo links, and you'll notice that our output links look a little different. They have little arrows, and this is a output link alternative, and I'll post the mod. It actually shows arrows on where things go, which is super handy, by the way. As you can see, the 2 aluminum extractors go up into this box, which all end up feeding down to this bottom here. And then our 1 beryllium goes to the top box and then goes to the bottom box. For the cargo link itself, I have nothing outbound, but I do have things going in the inbound box going to different containers. You can see one going into the gas one here, and one going into the liquids there. And then the main outflow is going from the inbound box over to the top of the general storage box here, and they all kind of feed into each other. So basically it links from this one to this one to this one, and then that goes back into that box at the bottom, and then feeds right to left from this direction. The transfer container does something very similar. It has cargo links or outbound links going to each of the solid storage, to the gas right over here, and then over to the liquid. You can see that one leading all the way across underground, and then finally emerging over here. So it goes, anything I dump into this box, this transfer container, can go out to the different resources, and then the manufacturer has 1 outbound as well. So there's never anything in this for the most part, because it all just kind of gets shuttled around. And the same thing goes with the warehouses here. They just go from right to left and then dumps things in sequentially. So you can see that one is filling up. I'm not sure why they don't fill up completely, but it is what it is. It seems to be working just fine. As it currently stands, I only have needs for 15 power, and my 3 wind turbines are providing plenty enough. But you see where that mod, the directional output links, kind of tells me where things are going a lot more easily instead of going, is it going in or out? I don't know. Well, it actually points to it. So, like I said, I'll give you the link to that mod if you want to do the same for your own. Let's head off to the other outpost right now. I landed probably a dozen or more times looking for different places, try and find different resources in combination, and I finally kind of gave up, and I just said, you know, screw it, I'm just going to go find what I need, and whatever the next one is where we end up. And that's how we get to our Codos iron base. And this is actually going to have more resources here. Codos iron base is on the verge of between iron and chlorine, and we actually got 1 more in alkanes. Alkanes in general, that's HNCN, that's alkanes, will be located inside of this iron area. Later on, when I get planetary scanning, I'm farther ahead than this episode, you'll see the alkanes will be kind of in the center of this iron zone. That's kind of how it runs on this planet. But let's go to the iron base and take a look. All right, sun's just coming up here at the iron base, which is base number 2 on here on Codos, and I just have them named Codos Iron and Codos Main to get any idea. So, set down my beacon, set down a landing pad, and then I kind of built a very simple hab. There's nothing in it, but I felt that it was important to at least have a hab here at a base, and then set my cargo transfer link going to the main base here on Codos. So it is an intra-system instead of inter-system, since it doesn't require helium. Very simple base. You'll notice there is no storage here. Everything that comes out of our 3 extractors, and we'll go take a look at those. We have 2 iron to go with the 2 aluminum at the other base. 1 alkanes extractor, and over here there is 1 chlorine extractor. And all those extractors go directly into the output cargo link here on the cargo link itself. So when you look at those arrows, that's all it's going to, is directly there. The ship arrives about every 3 in-game minutes, and and takes everything out of here and sends it off to the main base on Codos. This base requires 23 power, and I've got 24 power available because I have 2 wind turbines and 2 solar panels. The reason why it's a little bit more than the normal is because I've installed 1 security turret. I've been attacked here twice at this base by raiders, and they usually come from that direction. I figured that this was a somewhat central location, so having just a very simple turret up will kind of help with that, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. There are no hostile creatures that I've found so far on Codos. There might be some. There's 1 creature I've not found on this planet. I imagine it might be up in the ice where all the argon is, and that's really all we're missing is argon and carboxylic acids for getting everything off of this planet. I don't know if it's going to be worth setting up a 3rd outpost on Codos just for those 2, but they should run together at the same time. We'll look at some of the other planets in this system to see if we can get a little bit more variety and get another base with at least 3, and that's kind of my goal for any future outpost, allowing at least 3 resources per, and then they'll all go directly to the main base here on Codos. I don't know if we're going to have any inter-system links going to other solar systems, but we'll have to see in the future. For right now, we're working just fine on intra-systems, and this is mostly just to kind of alleviate some of the pressure on the storage within the frontier, so I can dump everything off of the main base. It gets shuttled into the different cargo containers, and then I have a nice empty ship to have cargo space if I have to do anything. So that's basically it. I'm not super happy with my ability at this level, but this is where we were at this point in time following episode 23 before we move on to episode 24. I wanted to show you guys the different bases. But Codos is a neat planet, or moon, planetary object moon. It does have atmosphere, it does have flora and fauna, and it's kind of a pretty location overall. So I think it's kind of a good place if you're looking for a moon to settle on without worrying about optimizing. I'm sure you'll see a lot of videos and stuff. I don't watch them, but I'm sure somebody's gone out and found the bestest, most extreme planet to get resources on so you can get the most out of it. But I'm not really that interested in the outpost system, except for, you know, making sure we role play it, that we have a good system set up. So that's all I got for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will get back into the role play in episode 24, which follows this video. That's all I've got for right now. My name is Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.